Hi guys. This is a video that I really haven't wanted to make, and it's really something that I don't want to talk about, but I feel like when something becomes a question, or when something is presented as a question so many times, you have to address it. And I want to be very careful in the way that I address this, because I feel like this is in some ways controversial, and I don't want to say anything offensive. And that sounds crazy to say that you don't want to say something offensive about your own self, but you'll understand more when I tell you what this video is about. So one of the questions I get the most on my channel is, are you mixed, or what's your ethnicity? People have started to guess what I could be mixed with, or tell me what I'm mixed with. And it's kind of a problem for me, because I feel like people assume in order for something to be what you deem as acceptable or good, even when it comes to hair, or especially when it comes to hair, what some people see as a good hair texture, they feel as though it cannot come from something that is just purely black. Let's just say it that way. They feel like something else has to be added in order for it to be beautiful. And I do not agree with that. And I feel like when people say those things to me, it's as if you push that on me as if it's my belief, but that is not my belief. And I made a video a while back, which was one of my only controversial videos, about natural hair texture discrimination. And I did not realize that it would be so controversial for me to say my experiences and my truth, but that is my truth, and that was my truth then, and that's still my truth now. I still face the same things. I'm sorry, it's just my life. But I want to be very clear that for me to say that I have faced texture discrimination because of my whatever hair is not me saying that I don't understand that a more kinky hair texture is less represented in the natural hair community. That is something that I completely understand, and I completely agree with the point that it's something that should be represented. It's something that should be celebrated. On the other hand, I also believe that the journey of someone like me with my hair texture is just as valid. So I don't want to seem like I'm naive or ignorant to the issues because I'm not. But the question is still at hand. Well, what are you? Because whatever. All right, but I feel like I've strayed away from the question so much that it was almost like I was denying myself, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna allow anyone to do that to me. As you guys know, I lost my father, and I cannot my father was amazing and one of the greatest people, and my bond with my father is a bond that most people don't have with their father. Girl, you from the country. With their father. My father is still more alive to me in my heart than some people's fathers who are alive. And my father was a member of the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians. So to answer your question, yes. And that is a culture that I grew up with. That's a culture that I grew up with as much as I grew up with the black side of my family. But if you ask me, if people ask me, or to me, it's a strange question for people to ask me, because if I saw myself on the streets, I feel like I'd just be like, oh, she's a black girl. And when you ask me, I say, I'm black. And one of the only times I remember the first time I ever noticed that it was something that people really paid attention to, I was like in kindergarten or something and taking some kind of standardized test, and I circled the little bubble for black, and one of my teachers was like, no, you're other. And I was like, whoa, because of course everybody in my town knows my family, and I was just like, oh, you know. I remember at that young age trying to grasp what that meant, and living my life in two cultures that have had so much hatred, because as you know, Choctaw Indian is Native American, and I won't even get into their history, but you trace back where the black comes from, and you know that that has to start from slavery. But then I can trace so closely the Native American side of me. I have family members that I can see, you know, the history is still there, and you know the kind of hatred that they also faced, and that's who I am. So the reason I didn't want to address it is because I feel as though when you say, well, yes, there's something else in me, it's almost like you become excluded from the natural hair community, like you can't sit with us. And that saddens me, because we are a group of people who are seeking to be accepted, seeking to accept who we are, but shunning people when they have a little something else in them, and I think that that's wrong. But I'm not going to get into any deeper on that situation. I could talk for hours, but I don't really want to cause any more controversy. But I wanted to answer the question. This is who I am. This is who I'm going to continue to be. So, bye guys.